need to. I'll snip the beginning and the end. Actually, I got all out of sorts. Let me bring this other window back up. I ended up closing something that I wanted to open. Okay. All right. And just let me know if you're ready and we can start it, I guess.
I'm good to go.
All right. Hello, and welcome to the Start Your Spring Strong workshop. This workshop is going to help you set your program up for success and student engagement for the start of your spring semester. The flow of the workshop will start with some teaching elements where we'll teach you about the curriculum import template, about the experience categories and experience tags, as well as getting started badges. And at the end, we will have some time for you to work on your product. So when you're finished with this workshop, you will have something to take to your program, take to your team, to use and insert into your program on Suitable. So to get things started, my name is Kelsey Kraus. I'm a University Success Specialist here with Suitable. And just to share a hobby, I am recently into some cross stitching. So I've been doing that lately in the evenings to relax a little bit and to get my eyes off a screen. And I am joined by another team member.
Hey everyone, my name is Eleni Tedder. I am one of the University Success Specialists here with Suitable as well. And I will be going through this workshop with you. One of my hobbies lately has been to do archery on the weekends, just to get myself out of the house and into a new environment.
All right. For a little bit of reflection at the beginning of this workshop, here at Suitable, we are aware and empathetic of the challenges our partners are facing at all the institutions across the country. One definitely being some staffing. We do know that there are plenty of offices out there that have some vacant job openings, or maybe you're wearing more than one hat in your role. I know I've been there in higher education doing a couple different jobs with one job title, essentially. So it can be hard to get your program and your ideas and initiatives off the ground with challenges such as staffing. Moving on, of course, with the uncertainty of when students are going to be on campus or not, student hybrid learning, more and more students are choosing to even learn maybe permanently hybrid. Maybe they aren't always going to be on campus, or they'll just step on campus once a month, once a week, or so on. A lack of student engagement, we've seen it across the board where some of our partners as institutions of students are really going to a lot of activities, they're really engaged. And then on the other end of the spectrum, students are hard to engage, coming back to in-person experiences. And then finally, colleague buy-in. This has always existed, even pre-COVID, making sure and getting your colleagues across campus bought in and involved in your initiatives. Why should students as well as colleagues care about another platform, something else to log into? What is the value proposition of your program? Again, we're very aware of these challenges, and it's always great to consult with your university success team on these challenges, and we can help you work through them. And of course, the rest of what we're going over with this workshop, we can help you with your challenges, your goals, and everything. So don't be afraid to reach out.
So I will go over briefly today's agenda for this workshop. So first and foremost, we will be reviewing how to import activities using the curriculum import template. It'll provide a great tool for you to be able to bulk import activities in the future. Then we'll be discussing experience categories and experience tags, how to use them, and why you should implement them into your program. Thirdly, we'll be going over how to introduce a Getting Started badge into your student population to start to jumpstart that student engagement, and also how to introduce students to the Suitable app in your program and how these Getting Started badges will assist you with that. And fourth and finally, we will move into some hands-on practice. So we'll provide you with a curriculum import template that you can work on during this workshop and give you space to reflect on the goals that you may have after working on this template, as well as ask us any questions that you may have.
Okay, here are our workshop outcomes. At the end of this workshop, you as a partner, as an administrator in the system, will be able to define your program spring goals, one or more, identify 3 to 5 activities to incorporate into a Getting Started badge, create experience tags and assign them to your activities, and then repeat the necessary steps to import a batch of activities using the curriculum import template.
All right, so let's start learning about the curriculum import template. So first, we will go over a few benefits of using the template. So first and foremost, adding multiple activities to your program at one time, including those repeating activities. So you have, say, advising sessions that students need to attend multiple times in a semester. Using the template will allow you to be able to build those in bulk. Second will be to review activity validations, competencies, and other details. So you have all of the information for your activities in one place where you can view them very easily. The third benefit is to be able to tag activities to experience categories and experience tags once you have those built out. This will help you with being able to better categorize and organize your activity list for your students. And fourth, and probably the most important benefit of using the template for our admins is it is faster than the Activity Wizard. With the Activity Wizard, you can create one activity at a time, whereas with using the curriculum import template, you can create multiple activities at once.
Yeah, and for your curriculum import template, there are some required details. So to start things off, you do need your basic information, and that's going to be your activity title, as well as your activity description, plus the prompt. It is sometimes common for the prompt to be forgotten about, and that does go in our activity description. And that's going to be what you want the student to do to earn their points and complete the activity. Next, we move on to activity type. So within our activities, we do have tasks and events. We have our levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Competency, here you can add 1 competency or more. We usually recommend 1 to 3 per activity, but of course it is up to you on the amount you want to assign to that activity. Validation, tasks can either be a reflection or they can be a submission, an event, or administrator approval. And then we have details, so the date, time, experience categories, and links. I will note that the details column here, not everything's necessarily required for everything. So for a task, you do not have to have the date and time, but for an event, you do have to have the date and time. Experience categories and links are not necessary for any of the activities, but those things do help give more depth to the activity by tagging them and by providing links for students to read and view and interact with. So I'm going to show you the template here. Here is our curriculum import template. You've probably seen this before, and if not, we do provide this to all of our partners, and it is actually in Suitable itself. When you're in the curriculum tab, there is a download template button. You probably use this during implementation if you're part of the implementation process, or maybe you've tried to give a hand at importing your own activities using this. So you'll note that there are asterisks beside some of the titles in the first row within each column. Those items are definitely required for the template to be accepted into the Suitable system. So when you scroll over, you'll notice that some things over here may not, such as location and so on, may not be required. Here is our activity title, the title, the basic title of your activity. Then we go into the description. This is going to be what your activity is, what your event is. You can, especially for an event, copy and paste the event description right into this block here, into this cell. And again, you also have your prompt. So what does a student have to do to complete this activity? You add in your type, your level, and we do have a leveling rubric that's available within this as well. It's going to be maybe the second tab, typically anyway. So if you don't know what the levels mean, there is a rubric that you can always reference for your level. Moving into competencies, you will put your competencies in here, again, one or more. And then we have your validation columns, submission, reflection, approval. And here, you do have to write out the word yes or no for each validation, if it's going to include the validation or not. And you can include more than one validation if you wish to do so. Like I had mentioned, start date and start time, these are going to be required for events, but they are optional for tasks. So this is a quick overview of our template.
All right. So for this part of the workshop, we're going to be briefly discussing some of the most common curriculum import template errors that we see with our partners. So first is going to be no date or time or an incorrect date or time format for event type activities. To prevent this type of error, it's really good to keep in mind that for any event type of activity, a date and a time is required. I'll go on to add for these types of activities, we also see that the time zone may be omitted when putting in events. For any activity that has a date or time associated with it, you are required to put in a time zone. The next most common template error that we see is putting only a number to indicate a level rather than spelling out level 1, level 2. Pretty often we see just the number 1 or the number 2. To be able to load it into the Suitable site, you do need to have it spelled out as level 1. The third most common issue that we see are slight spelling or formatting errors within the competencies. So whenever you are entering your competencies in the competency column, their spelling or formatting should match exactly to how that you have them in your site. If you're unsure of how you have them formatted within Suitable, you're able to see this in the settings section under your pathway tab. And then finally, the most common, or one of the most common template errors that we see is not including the validations required for a task type activity. So most often we see whenever the activity type is identified, such as task, we see task/submission or task/reflection, instead of just having task in that column and then a few columns over indicating yes or no for if a submission or reflection is required.
So now we're going to move on to experience tags. So let's learn a little bit about our experience tags. I will note that in the system, they are experience categories as the umbrella or the group, and then the tags go within those categories. So you might hear us reference them both ways. There are several benefits of using experience tags. First, the first benefit is to tag your activities to courses, student organizations, majors, etc. The second benefit is that you can filter your activities within the activity stream. And that goes for both admins and for students. So if you're in the activity stream, at the top, there are different filters available to you and to students, and you can filter just for maybe student government activities or for soccer activities, as an example. And then the third benefit, you'll have more detailed curriculum imports or reports, so that when you're downloading information for your activities, you can do some more filtering to see what activities are tagged to what tags.
So next, we'll just go over a few ways that our partners are using experience tags. So we've listed a few here, but the most common ones that we typically see are going to be for institution or department values. So if you have multiple departments building out activities within your site, it's very easy to denote which department is sponsoring that activity. The second one would be student organizations. So if you have student organization meetings or events that are held by student organizations, you can add those into the activity stream and easily organize them by adding an experience tag for the organization that the activity belongs to. The next one that we have is audience type. So if there's a specific student audience that this activity is intended for, whether that be students who are first gen within your honors program or veterans, that can be listed on the activity as well. And then of course we have other types listed here, such as class standing. So if the activity is intended for freshmen, seniors, graduate students, athletic teams, to denote which activities may be best for which athletic teams, and so on and so forth. So really using experience tags to organize your activities, the possibilities are endless on how you can organize your activity list.
To get started adding an experience tag, first, I will note that you have to have the experience category and tag first created in the Suitable system in your program. So either, of course, we could teach you how to do that and go through that, or your university success team can make those tags for you. But once they exist in the system, you are then free to tag your activities to those tags. So you can actually tag activities either using the activity wizard or of course using the template. And since we're focusing on the template today, I will bring that back up and show you where that lives in our template. So again, here's our template. We looked at this here a few minutes ago. And scrolling all the way over here to the right, I'm going to keep going and keep going. Column V is usually where it's located. That is where your tags will begin. And each column is going to be a new experience category. So in our instance, we have department name as an experience category. And in that, our tags are Career Center and Academic Affairs. So if we wanted to tag something to Career Center, we would type that in here. If we wanted to tag something to Academic Affairs, we would tag it just like that. So these two tags exist within this category. So again, these have to exist already in Suitable. Once you have them tagged and you upload your activities using the template into your program, the activities will be tagged. And of course here, we do have a lot of examples to show you. You can have actually about up to 20 tags, but there are categories. You can have lots of tags within those categories. But again, your success team can always work with you on organizing those.
All right. So now that you have learned about the curriculum import template as well as experience tags, we are ready to start learning about these Getting Started badges to jumpstart your student engagement. So first, let's discuss some benefits of a Getting Started badge for your students. First, it'll help students with navigating the Suitable app, your program, or any new term requirements. This will be really helpful for getting them situated with Suitable so they can jumpstart into those other badges that you may have available. The second benefit is these badges are typically low-hanging fruit, otherwise an easily achievable badge. By having one of those badges available, it creates confidence and healthy competition for your students to get them on that leaderboard. Typically, these badges will have about 2 to 3 activities in them that are really just about getting started. Third, it will help to jumpstart your engagement for the term and drive students to other badges in your program. So continuing that engagement after they finish their Getting Started badge and growing that confidence for them. And the fourth benefit of a Getting Started badge would be to test out new incentive structures with students to find what works best for your population. With implementing a Getting Started badge, we do highly recommend having some type of incentive structure in place for your students to continue that engagement after earning the badge, which Kelsey will talk about with our next slide.
Yeah, and we have had many partners share their incentives with us, and this is just probably half of our list. We've heard some really great ideas over the past few months, past few years, and some of them do cost money and maybe you have to budget for them, and some of them are free or very cheap. Just to go through a few of these, on the left-hand side, they are more tangible and experiential incentives that do cost some money. So things like school branded items, hoodies, sweatshirts, sweatpants, etc. Maybe graduation cords or professional headshots. Laundry credit, that's actually a pretty popular one. Students need to do their laundry, and just giving them $20 to do their laundry can really go a long way for a student. Either a whole semester meal plan or maybe some dining dollars. Different universities call them different things, but that extra kind of flex money that they can use. Bookstore credit, earbuds, AirPods, very popular as well. And moving down to experiential, a lot of programs, especially maybe business schools and academic type programs, like to help their students with a professional membership, maybe to something like the American Marketing Association, their local chapter, just as an example. Tickets to a local game or a movie, sports team, hockey, something of that nature. And then on the right-hand side, we have our incentives that are, of course, free or very cheap. So those digital LinkedIn badges, adding their badges to LinkedIn, writing them a letter of recommendation. Continuing on to experiential, a parking space on campus. Parking is sometimes a hot commodity, and especially if it's commuter students, providing a parking space is a great incentive. Moving on down to an email from the dean or president, just some of that recognition. Students love recognition. And then a seat on an advisory board or being able to shadow prominent alumni from your institution. And like I said, we do have more, and I believe Eleni dropped the link in the chat, but also we have this really nice marketing and promotions guide that we do give to our partners. And if, again, the link is there, but if you ever need it again, we can always share it with you. But when you scroll down, I want to say, yep, I guess it's page 6 here. There are a couple of pages that explain incentives, how to use incentives, and incentive ideas. That's incentives.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how our partners are using Getting Started badges. So Getting Started badges are used to help students familiarize themselves with your program or with your college. So this can be done through campus or program engagement with scavenger hunts, or by having some type of launch party or get together for students. We typically see 2 to 3 activities used within these badges as a guide for students on how to navigate your program and Suitable. As an incentive to have students to complete the badge, we've also seen partners use the badge as a prerequisite for seeing a career advisor or signing up with a student organization, so students to complete their Getting Started badge before they can access these services.
Yeah, and I'll add real quick, we do have another guide here, our program branding badge and activity guide. which does have information on badge building and getting started badges. So again, another guide to help you beyond this workshop.
Yeah, both of these guides that Kelsey is showing to you today are available with your University Success team. So if you don't already have access to them, be sure to ask your University Success team and they'll be happy to give those to you. All right, so now we are on to the main event. So earlier in the workshop, you were sent a link. It is the first link that was sent to a curriculum import template. We're going to give you the next 5 minutes to work on this import template to build out your Getting Started badge for your students. When you access that link, you're able to download it to a Microsoft Excel file by clicking on File in the top left and then downloading to Excel. So once you have that ready, go ahead and get started on your badge. One other thing to note is there is a tab with Getting Started badge activity examples, which Kelsey is showing to you now, which you can use to kind of jumpstart the badge. And then we also have just a general activity and prompt example as well to add more to it. Yep. All right.
I guess it's the fourth tab.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we will go ahead and get the timer started and we will see you again in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is up. I am sure that you all did some great work on your curriculum import template. So after completing this exercise and reflecting on the goals of your program for this semester, we have a couple of things that we want to debrief on before we go into our closing items. So first and foremost, if there are any questions after working through the curriculum import template, you can go ahead and share those questions with your University Success Specialist, or send them to our team at support@studable.co, and they'll be able to assist you. And then second, we want to know what is your goal or biggest takeaway from this workshop that you'll take back to your program and your students. How is this workshop going to help inform your goals for the spring semester? And we'd love for you to share these goals with your University Success team so that we can better assist you with achieving those goals this semester.
Yeah, and with that in mind, we each year at Pathways, maybe you've been to Pathways, maybe you haven't, and your first will be this upcoming year in July. We do usually recognize our partners for different best branding, best incentive, most innovative pivot, and you can earn some recognition. So if one of your badges that you're making are very innovative, or you have some really creative incentives, you might be a part of the consideration for an award at Pathways. Could you be the next winner?
All right, and then one of the final things we'll talk about is our upcoming trainings and drop-in hours. So going through this workshop today, you realized you need a little more assistance with working on the administrative side of Studable. We have a basic training coming up on February 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, or a drop-in hour if you just have a couple of questions. That will be occurring on February 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as in the chat, there will be a link to where the schedule for trainings and events with the University Success team lives. This is our community discussion board, so along with the administrative schedule, there are other discussion areas available for you as well.
Yeah, and of course, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to your University Success team. I know Lainey had already mentioned that, but your team really is there for you every step of the way, obviously with implementation, but for continued engagement as well. So don't be afraid to reach out. We love helping our partners and hearing new ideas, new incentives, and how you're refreshing your programs each semester. And we thank you for listening in. We hope that you did get something out of this workshop, and do be on the lookout for future workshops that we will be holding just about once a month that have the same format of a product you can take away at the end after you're done watching it, taking something away to your team to actually use and utilize with your students and your colleagues.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for listening in, and we look forward to discussing what you learned in our University Success calls.